Hey, wins are wins, man. I ain't going to turn it back. I ain't going to give it back.
Hey,
wins are wins.
You know what? I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Like, the Saints literally gave it away.
I mean,
And look, I'm not trying to have anything like no shade against the Panthers, nothing like that.
Hey, wins are wins.
Saints were like, here you go. Like, here you go, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we saw the Panthers go 3-and-out in the fourth quarter right there, and Saints really could have just ate the clock. But they, penalties, all that stuff.
Hey, that's fine. You know what? We'll accept it. Because guess what? We're cash money now. Let's get this up.
Get dialed in, Panthers fans. Here comes an in-depth look at your team. Exclusive interviews. Locker room insight. Ready? Let's huddle up.
Let's just do it, okay?
For Panthers Playbook, driven by Carolina Ford Dealers. Here are your hosts, Dennis Cox and Chris Lea.
Welcome back to another episode of Panthers Playbook. That's the number one stunner right there, Chris Lea. Dennis Cox here with you. Panthers Playbook brought to you by our friends over at Carolina Ford Dealers. With the Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today.
We're the greatest duo since the Big Timers, right?
Yes, we are.
And the Big Timers back together.
Yeah.
What a weekend for New Orleans, right?
Well, let's start with this. Panthers get the win, 23-22. Who the hot boys? All right? Who the hot boys from today?
Bryce. Chuba. Jadaveon Sanders.
JT.
Damani Richardson
had a lot of tackles again today.
Those are our hot boys from the game.
Right there. Legette also had some good plays. Also had that interception. That ball got ripped away. I don't put that one on Bryce at all. No. Bryce put the ball exactly where he needed to. Yeah. I will say this. Bryce had a pretty fine game today. We'll get into Bryce here in a little bit, but I thought Bryce actually had a pretty good day today. And, he did everything that he needed to do.
Yeah.
Didn't quite always get the help from his receivers. Like, hello, David Moore, can you catch the ball, right over here, please?
Here's another thing, though.
Yeah.
First time ever in his career, Bryce Young, victory formation.
First time
gets
ever.
a chance to kneel down at the end of the game.
20th start actually gets
because
to kneel down.
the two wins from last year came from kicks.
Yeah.
You just get them down far enough to where, Pinheiro could just put it in there. So first time for him to do the victory formation. This is big for Bryce.
You know what? And we were in the locker room post game. We're actually going to go. We'll hear from Xavier Legette. We'll hear from Jadaveon Sanders, Robert Hunt, a few others.
Yes.
And the feeling in the locker room is like, man, all the hard work has been paying off. You and I were just going around, even players, even off the record, just kind of asking, how's the vibe been? Everyone's been working hard. No division in the locker room. Guys are still putting in the work and the effort, and it feels nice to actually finally get rewarded with a win.
No division.
Yeah.
And you did that with some subtraction?
Anyway,
no, but yes, it was – you could tell a difference in the locker room. You could tell the guys. Obviously it's a win, so they feel good. But also this is a team that is confident in themselves. I will say this, though. If you look at the stats, this is definitely a one-sided game towards the Saints. And the Saints –
overall stats, yeah.
I think this is the game where – I think I said this earlier to you this year, where we needed to see a game from Dave Canales where the coaching wins them the game. And honestly, the best coach on the field today was Dave Canales because –
Think so?
You think Dennis Allen did a great job coaching?
They both weren't that great. I will say Dave Canales wasn't that great today.
No, I have some critiques for Dave Canales for sure.
But Dennis Allen did himself no
favors. But overall, who was the best? Because Dennis Allen did himself absolutely no favors. When you go in – let's pull up these stats. When you go in and you have this much of an advantage over a team and you end up losing, there's so much more that the Saints really could have done. Yeah. They could have had this game in hand by the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they just didn't.
I will say, the end zone that we are currently standing in right here at Bank of America Stadium, on the first two drives for the Saints, they had 2nd and 4, 3rd and 4, and another 3rd and 4, and they ran the ball 0 times. 0 times on those attempts. Or on those 3 times. They threw 3 times, got 3 incompletions, settled for field goals. I was like, dude, the Panthers' run defense is not that good. Panthers' run defense is not that good.
First downs.
Yeah.
25-15 Saints.
Yep.
Total plays, 74-50 Saints. Yep. Total yards, 427 to 246 Saints.
Yep.
Passing, 230 to 166 Saints. Rushing, 197 to 80 Saints. Time of possession, 34-19 to 25-41 Saints. Bro.
All the numbers favor the Saints.
Bruh.
Okay, when's the last time?
Also, they win turnover margin.
That's true. They did.
They won the turnover margin.
When's the last time we could say that about a Panthers win where in all those stats, all those categories, the Panthers trailed? in all those categories, yet still walked out with a win.
When's the last time the Panthers led 3 times in the game? Because that also happened
That
too.
happened today too.
And we were talking about this in the press box. Like, wait a minute, they're leading. They lost the lead. Got the lead back.
Lost it.
Lost it. Came back. I mean, like, that's nothing but keeping your guys together and coaching. Defense still not very good, but they made the plays
they got
at the
some red
right
zone
time
stops.
when they needed to, including what you just referred to at the beginning of the game with those 2 red zone stops, which, by the way, if we're going to give it up for them, that's one
red zone.
That's one of the main things we've been talking about.
Yep.
You don't stop teams in the red zone. It's almost automatic for the last couple seasons. You get to the red zone, you're going to score on this team. A touchdown, by the way. I'm talking about 6.
6.
They held them to 3 twice with that. It's just every way that the Panthers could have lost this game and should have lost this game didn't happen because the guys stayed together. They stayed steady. And Dave Canales kind of said this in the postgame. Bryce Young outplayed his play calling.
Yeah.
Bryce.
That's true.
Dave Canales essentially told us that.
Yeah.
He admitted, like, hey, Bryce Young, even though I gave him some bad plays, he did his thing with it.
Still made something out of it.
And so, hey, Bryce, this isn't the game that you, I think, talk about and like, oh, yeah, you should have gotten him number 1 overall because of that. It's not that game, right? But at least he showed that he's got something in him where he doesn't quit, and that's the thing that I love about this game for Bryce Young.
We'll hear from players in the locker room about Bryce Young here in just a moment, but the feeling of the win, let's go to Robert Hunt, offensive lineman, who was pretty ecstatic that they won tonight. Let's go to the locker room.
Felt really good, man. Just really happy, man. Happy for the team. Guys came out, played, believed, kept fighting, man, to the last minute. Saturday we were doing our walkthrough and we're like, man, let's try to get in this victory formation, and it worked out today, man. So I'm just very grateful. I'm very honored, and I'm happy tonight.
All right, Robert Hunt obviously was very excited when they got that game-winning touchdown. Chuba Hubbard, who only got 15 carries today, if I remember correctly, Chris. 15 carries, averaging just over 4 yards per carry, but still had a couple touchdowns.
Still not enough.
It's still not enough. Still not enough.
Still not that sweet spot that we talked about.
But you know who?
15 carries, 72 yards.
Yeah, 15 carries, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's one of our hot boys. But the number 1 stunner today, Jadaveon Sanders.
Boy.
Like, you want to talk about making like a check down into something big? Like, he hurdled Tyrann Mathieu. And I was talking to Jadaveon Sanders and Thomas Nkoum after the game. And Thomas Nkoum goes, he hurdled one of the greatest. Like, he hurdled one of the best to ever do it. And put him on a poster, basically, is what he said. And then he finished that catch running through another guy for 46 yards. And then he followed up with another big catch to get into the red zone as well. He was a big factor today. It's like, oh, there's that raw physical ability from that 4th-round player that we saw. It's like now he's starting to put it together. A couple games ago, he had 6 catches. A few before that, he had 5. So he's starting to put it together a little bit more and more as a young rookie.
We've seen good games from Jalen Coker, from Xavier Legette.
Yep.
Of course, we're hoping that maybe by next week we're going to see Jonathon.
You have to see him by next week.
I guess we have to. Because his 21-day window comes up on Wednesday. But finally, Jadaveon Sanders has that game where you're just like, this is why we have this guy, and this is why he's our tight end of the future.
Yeah, 100%.
And I honestly think if you see play like that on a consistent basis, adding on to what Tommy Tremble can give you, now all of a sudden you've got a tight end room.
Yeah, you do.
You got a tight end room here in the Carolinas.
Yeah,
and for a long time, it was really just, Greg Olsen or bust for the most part, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was just some guys around Greg Olsen. If you're able to keep Tommy Tremble, if you want to keep Tommy Tremble, and then have Jadaveon Sanders as well, and those guys are stepping up, along with the fact that you have a great rookie in Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker who is stepping up. If it's Bryce Young, if it's Andy Dalton, if it's somebody else, Cam Ward, whoever is the quarterback next year, is going to have some guys to throw to. And this is what the Panthers need to do, right? Like we talked about this at the beginning of the year, that we didn't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they need to show that they are in position to try to win in 2025 and 2026. So these are some of the steps. And so I'm glad that he's able to make that step.
Well, Jadaveon Sanders is also pretty ecstatic about the win.
It feels good, man. It's a great feeling, not only for me, but for the rest of these guys on the team, BY. A lot of vets on this team, you know what I'm saying? It feels good, and just to bring it home back to the Carolinas, it feels great.
All right, Chris, statistically, you look at Bryce Young, 16 to 26, 171 yards, touchdown, interception. Interception, not his fault.
Not his
Not
fault
his fault at all.
Before you go there,
Go on.
I think the NFL really needs to start, like, not attributing interceptions to the quarterback when it's not their fault.
Yeah,
Like,
I get
through
it.
the hand, you know what I'm saying? That,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Through the hands to the DB, not the quarterback's fault.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Pop up to the DB, not the quarterback's fault. Like, when it's literally ripped from Xavier Legette's grasp,
Taken from his hands. Yeah.
like, that can't be on Bryce. But it's gonna live on Bryce, and people are gonna look at that and talk about Bryce because of it.
I always feel like that stuff averages itself out. Like, 'cause there's plenty of times where the ball's been thrown directly to a defensive back and they drop it.
That's true.
So I feel like that stuff eventually does average out.
It happened earlier in the first quarter.
It did. It did. It definitely did. I thought Bryce was fine today. I thought he was fine today.
Fine.
He did everything that he was asked to do. Still a couple times where he kind of got himself into pressure. And there's some times where I was like, dude, like, uncork it, let it go. And he finally did that late in the game. Like, third down, needed to have it on that game-winning drive, about 20 yards downfield on a deep in route, fires one into Xavier Legette, got the completion. Next play, pass interference drawn by JT Sanders. You don't get that unless you actually take some shots downfield, which it was actually kind of nice to see. And like you said, Dave Canales said he kind of outplayed what the play calling was by him. And you know what? Bryce had a pretty solid day today. Again, not the best defense in the world. Actually one of the worst defenses in the NFL. I get that they were out with, just Deontay Johnson was traded, no Adam Thielen, but guess what? The Saints were without Marshawn Lattimore and Kool-Aid McKinstry. And then Chris Olave goes down as well. And Rashid Shaheed has been out as well. So it's like both teams were in pretty much the exact same situation in that regard. It is what it is. You still have to play, and Bryce did get the job done, which is the biggest thing. He got the job done.
But part of that, what you said and how you started that conversation, like that is the conversation when it comes down to you, like, bro, I just want you to uncork it.
Yeah.
But is he being allowed to? Because now we're starting to see, now we're really starting to see, now we have 3 games where Bryce Young is a starter, 4 games, where Bryce Young is a starter under Dave Canales, 5 games for Andy Dalton, right?
Yeah.
And so last year when we were talking about all this and we talked about the Seattle game, and we said, I think an exact quote was, it felt like Andy Dalton had access to a playbook that Bryce Young doesn't have access to, right? It still kind of feels like that under Dave Canales.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, right? Where 2 coaching staffs in a row don't trust Bryce Young to pass it down the field. And then finally, when they had allowed him to and they made those calls to get him down the field, he made it.
They got a couple plays out of it. They did.
Now, there's a couple he kind of underthrew. He could have put it in a better spot. Maybe if he puts that pass to David Moore in a little bit better spot, lead him just a little bit more, maybe not overshoot Coker as much. You can nitpick a few things here and there, but he did a great job. He got the pass interference. You talked about Jadaveon Sanders. Perfectly thrown ball right there to cause that. He gets it to Xavier Legette a few times. I mean, the one that was ripped from Legette was right. I mean, you could. You can't
hand it to him.
You can't throw it any better than that. And Bryce Young stepped up.
Yeah.
I don't want to take the moment away from him.
No.
But I am waiting for a Bryce Young game that's just better than just fine.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He didn't lose the game.
I'm with you.
He did a good job. But as you said, it was a fine game. When are we going to see the type of game that we're expecting from the number 1 overall pick? A type of game that we've seen from who's not a number 1 overall pick, Jaden Daniels from Washington, or maybe from Caleb Williams, who's a number 1 overall pick. He's had some pretty good games. We're waiting on that from Bryce, but don't want to take the moment away from you. Bryce, heck of a job today, and your play helped to win the game for the Carolina Panthers.
That it did.
When your coach's play calling could have taken it away from the team. Could have taken it away.
Could have. Now, all right, a guy who actually had a pass breakup at the very end of the game, Mike Jackson, actually on this sideline right here, Chris. Right here.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here.
Right here. Yep. Mike Jackson even has Bryce Young's back.
Just shout out to Bryce, bro. Bryce played his ass off today. Like, he had our back. Like, you feel me? We gave up a touchdown. He drove the ball down the field, put points on the board. So it's really on him.
All right, that's a conversation in the locker room coming from players, Chris. It's like these guys, I feel like they have Bryce's back. And another person who said that, Jadaveon Clowney, who knows what it's like being a number 1 overall pick, he even said, hey, Bryce, we got you, man.
Oh, man, I'm happy for Bryce. I know he's been going through a lot of ups and downs since he's been entered the National Football League. That was big for him today, go down there and drive the ball and put us in situation to win a game and set us up. I was just excited and happy for him. Hope he can continue to play like that and help the team and, continue to ride this wave that we starting to build on and continue to play well.
Chris, I think that Bryce Young has earned himself another start. I think so.
Yeah.
At this point, honestly, the rest of the year, roll with it. Roll with it.
It's also telling, though, that Dave Canales won't just come out and say it. It really still feels like if Andy Dalton can go, he's going to go.
Yeah,
which
feels that way.
Which is interesting because it's like, what does this mean for the future of Bryce Young, and why are they holding back? I mean, we've already established that, like, he doesn't quite trust him as much down the field, and he's the second head coach to do that.
Yeah, he doesn't. But, hey, guys in the locker room, like Xavier Legette, one of the rookies that he's thrown to, definitely seems to see the progress from Bryce.
Absolutely.
I feel like he got better, man, because I feel like he's been a great player. What I would say is I feel like he's more comfortable out there, man. He's taking shots and giving us the chance to make those plays for him.
Was it pretty? No. But is it a win? Yes. And that's the biggest thing. We'll take that 10 times out of 10.
Listen, we on fire.
Yeah, we are.
You know, all these guys are going to go home to their hot girls because they need a hot girl tonight. You know what I'm saying? The Panthers on this turf, they were getting their roll on.
Yeah, they were.
Okay?
Yeah, they were.
And they came in here and they set it off in his mother. All the Cash Money references, because I'm doing that because the Hot Boys are back, and the New Orleans Saints came in here and lost it for their New Orleans guys from Cash Money.
Who are the big timers now?
Oh.
Huh?
Oh.
Huh?
We got our own Hot Boys here.
Huh?
Hey, I hope the real Hot Boys don't see this and be mad at me because I love you guys.
Please
I
don't
love
be
you
mad.
guys.
We actually
love you
listened to that
guys
on the ride
when
home.
you guys come to Charlotte and you come to Raleigh or you come to Greensboro, wherever you come, we're going to be there.
We're going to be
I'm
there.
going to be front row,
We're
honestly.
gonna be,
But what a weekend.
But what a weekend.
What a week. Hot Boys came back, and the Carolina Panthers get a 1-point win over the New Orleans Saints.
I'll take it. I'll
take it every single time.
Hey, by the way, real quick, we're going to have another episode for you at Panthers Playbook on Thursday. Next week, when they're in Germany, the Panthers, Carry Carolina Ale House, 9:30 a.m. kick. Chris and I are going to be there in Cary. Come watch some Panthers football with us against a not very good Giants team. Hey, you know what? They might get another one in a row. You just never know. Andy Dalton out here, by the way. Can't quite see it, but he's kind of blurry there. You know what? Actually, you know what, Chris? Let me just go ahead and adjust it out here for the people.
Okay. Adjust that.
Just you know.
Right there with family.
With family.
That's what it's all about. You know, he's a family man.
You're part of the family.
Family man.
And also part of the family is Carolina Ford Dealers. For Ford F-150, see your Carolina Ford dealer today. On Thursday, we out.